Consortium. Let me start by thanking UNU Wider for organizing this session, and also for the chairman, FinTab, for coordinating this effort in an effort to honor our foreign hero, Professor Benno. We at the AERC are very grateful for this. I have a few slides that I'm going to share. And let me start by sharing them so that at least you can see the content under which we hold our hero, Benno Ndulu. First, let me say that we are celebrating Professor Benno Ndulu, who is an intellectual and a policy leader. And we are very happy at the AERC for doing this. And I'm going to bring a few tributes or a few issues, a few areas where Benno has contributed, not only in terms of intellectual input, but also as a policy advisor and a policy leader. First, let me start by where we are at the AERC. AERC is a capacity building network that comprises of capacity building through research and even graduate training. And we also have a policy outreach and communication. And this helps us in terms of trying to help capacity that will go into institutions, mid-level career of government, and even policy leaders in the network in sub-Saharan Africa. And this is the structure that Benno helped to create way back in 1988. And this is the approach we use to date for capacity building and knowledge generation in sub-Saharan Africa. Second, let me talk about Benno Ndulu, the thought leader. He was the reading right at the University of Dar es Salaam, and his publications span 4 decades. Some of the trails of revolutionary contributions involve, for example, Agenda for Africa Economic Renewal in the 1990s that set the stage for richer and comprehensive reforms in African economies. Second, growth and adjustment in sub-Saharan Africa. And this is also the time when AERC was established just to deal with the issues of structural adjustment. And here, Benno actually outlined economic reforms in sub-Saharan Africa that is required, and this is by 1991. The third area, which is very important for us, is economic directions, new directions in development economics, which was published in 1996. And that gave even us young economists the direction that we need to take when we're looking at development economics. Fourth, governance and growth in sub-Saharan Africa. And these are issues that we have that has preoccupied our researchers for many years. And finally, and not the least, there are so many of them, if we wanted to parade them, is the political economy of economic growth in Africa. And this was published in 2000. And this was really a leading light in terms of what African economic growth is all about, and the difference between different countries in Africa, the coastal rich countries, coastal resource rich countries, landlocked resource poor countries, and all that. And this has helped shift the policy narrative in Africa because it's actually not one narrative, but diverse narrative depending on country characteristics. And for us, this is a lesson that we have learned for many years. The second thing is I wanted to show that Benno Ndulu was is a leader in terms of innovation and capacity building. And the first he was the first director of the AERC research. And he is the one who actually developed the building blocks of capacity building. Second, he was also the first African executive director of the AERC in 1992. For us, we are happy to report and even to showcase that he has provided pioneering development at the AERC, and the collaborative research in the 1990s and the graduate training in 1993 is a good example. So this has supported the AERC network and the Secretariat with innovative ideas for capacity building and funding AERC activities since then. From where he was sitting as governor of the Bank of Tanzania, he was coordinating the AERC African Central Bank governors, the program committee, and even he has made some contribution, tangible contribution at the AERC board, even when he had left the AERC. But the leading policy advisor in Benno is quite remarkable. The first AERC Senior Policy Seminar in 1995 was supposed to reach out to policymakers and share research findings and a link to practical policy implementation. And since then, every March of the year, we have held senior policy seminar in diverse topics. He had a long stint at the World Bank in Tanzania as a lead economist and in the Vice President and Chief Economist office in Washington, D.C. of the World Bank. He was also economic advisor to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He has had an advisory role from governments to government agencies as well as multilateral institutions. He was the economic advisor to the President of the Republic of South Africa, but the history of his advisory role in the Republic of South Africa starts way back in the 1990s. And the most successful and celebrated, he's one of the most successful and celebrated governor of the central bank in this region and beyond. He served as the governor of Bank of Tanzania from 2008 to 2018, a 10 years period which has seen a remarkable development in central banking and even monetary policy. Benno, the policy leader, is actually quite fascinating. Designing monetary policy in the Bank of Tanzania, that was very, very critical. He was leading right in monetary policy reforms, regional integration in the East African community and even the SADC region. He was leading right in payments system, that is the East African payment system, and the pioneering push for digital financial systems, starting with retail electronic payment system in East Africa. Tanzania also published the book on the path to prosperity, and he was one of the editors and even a contributor. And that for us is really a reading right in terms of path to prosperity. And finally, he was a commissioner by the time of his demise with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Digital Pathways for Prosperity Commission on Technology and Inclusive Development in Bravatnik School of Government in Oxford. But let me also come to a personal level. He was a friend to me and a mentor. He was a friend to me and a role model and also a mentor. He was the only governor in the African region to accept and replicate Kenya's M-Pesa in the Bank of Tanzania. And M-Pesa is an electronic payments platform, a retail electronic payment platform that was started in Kenya in 2007 and has been replicated across the East African region, and now it's reaching out to outside Africa. He was at my defense when the IMF and the World Bank doubted Kenya's M-Pesa, the retail electronic payments platform, and financial inclusion goal. The two countries are now the most successful, that is Kenya and Tanzania, the most successful in digital financial services, financial inclusion, and electronic payments infrastructure. We then combined forces to lead the way in reformulating monetary policy framework in East African countries with the support of IGC. He supported me as chair in the formation of Alliance for Financial Inclusion, AFI, in 2009, a network of financial regulators that coordinated financial and still coordinates financial inclusion in policies in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. He later became chair of AFI and pushed its expansion, and that is how it has stood even to date. It's one of the most prolific networks on policy formulation. We have received tributes from so many, and this was in our previous biannual in June this year. And we asked several reading rights and even those who were there in the formation of AERC and later to provide tributes. We have so many, and it is actually in our website. But I just wanted to just show you a few, and I don't want to read the tributes. These slides will be available, but I want to recognize Professor Anne Bixen, Professor Jerry Heraina, Dr. Barbara Burungi, Dr. Joyce Mook, Professor Shanta Devarajan, Professor Ibi Ajay, Professor Stephen O'Connor, Dr. Rohinton Merora, and finally, one of our perhaps prolific policymakers in Africa, Dr. Kefara Yansane. The way forward is that we have to keep the memories of our hero alive. And we at the AERC are asking ourselves, how do we do this? The first thing is that we're going to start with the memorial lectures during the December biannual, starting with the December 2021 biannual conference. We'll be having Benno's memorial lectures. The second thing is that we're going to organize, and we're still continuing to organize and arrange and develop a publication of a volume in Benno's memory. And we are working towards that especially Stephen O'Connor and Shanta Devarajan and ourselves in the AERC. We are working very hard on that. And finally, we are going to establish scholarships in the name of Professor Benno Ndulu. And this will be awarded to the best male and female candidates every year at the AERC graduate training programs. And we do believe that these 3 areas and maybe others that we may think about in future will be very, very important in keeping the memories of our hero alive. And finally, we might be saying painfully, rest in peace, our dear friend. But from all of us at the AERC, let me say in the East African way, asante sana. But of course, we also cover a Francophone region, let me say, merci beaucoup. And from all of us at the AERC, thank you very much. And let our friend rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much and good afternoon.